Trapezoids. We'll start with the formula. Area equals 1/2 of the height times base 1 plus base 2. So if we look at this first trapezoid, we have a lot of information. We want to try to find the height and the two bases, base 1 and base 2. Remember that the height and the base form a right angle. They're perpendicular. So we have our right angle here, so we know this is the height. The 5 inches is the height. So that perpendicular touches this bottom segment, that 12 inches, so that's a base. And then across from that, up here is also a perpendicular. So 8 inches is the base. The 7 inches and the 6 inches is extra information. We don't need the sides of like those two legs of the trapezoid. So we're going to say area equals 1/2 the height times the height, so 5 times, and notice I put base times base, not base 1 and base 2, because it doesn't matter what order the bases go in, because we're adding 8 plus 12, and if we say 8 plus 12 or 12 plus 8, it doesn't matter, we get the same number. So I'm going to say 8 plus 12. This takes a little bit more simplifying with it like in steps, like work, than some of our previous formulas, just because there's a little bit more going on. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to say area equals 1/2. I'm going to leave that height of 5. I'm going to do 8 plus 12 to get 20. And now this looks a lot like our triangle formula where we've combined the bases. So really we have 1/2 the height times the base. And I can work right to left to simplify. So I'm going to take 20 times 5 equals, so I have 100, and half of that, so divide by 2, and my area is 50 inches squared. So I'm going to find the area over here. Again, using that formula, area equals 1/2 the height, base plus base. I have extra information again. If I look at my right angle, I know this is the base, 20 centimeters. So then this is another base, and then this is the height. So this 8 centimeters is extra information. I don't need that. So I have area equals 1/2. The height is kind of a weird number here. It's going to make our answer look a little bit different. It's 4√3. And the reason it's 4√3 is this angle right here is 60 degrees. This one's 30. So we have one of those special right triangles. Don't worry, those aren't going to come into play for any reason in this unit. You will be given, if you have a special right triangle like this, you will just be given the height. You don't have to figure out anything. And then we're going to times base 20 plus base 5. Again, I'm going to simplify my bases by adding. So I have area equals 1/2. I still have that 4√3. And I'm going to do 20 plus 5 to get 25. So I'm still going to work right to left with this, but I need to ignore that √3 to the end. So in my answer, there will be a √3, but I don't want to put that in the calculator. I want to take 25 times 4, because 4 is on the outside of the square root, and 25 doesn't have a square root. So 25 times 4 is 100, and then I'm going to take half of 100, so divide by 2, and I get 50√3 centimeters squared. So this is an exact answer because √3 is a long decimal, so that would be rounding if we multiplied by √3. So I'm just going to leave it as an exact answer with √3. And really, I don't know that you will ever see a problem like that again. I just wanted to show you one because they do exist. But definitely on your homework today, you won't see that. So this one's also a little bit different. It says the area of the trapezoid is 95. The bases are 8 and 11. Find the height. It's not different in the sense that you haven't done anything like this before. You have with other formulas. It's just we haven't done it with in this particular lesson. So our area is 95. So 95 is going in for area. 1/2 is always 1/2. The bases are, so I'm going to leave H. And the bases are 8 plus 11. Find the height. So that's why I left H. So I'm still going to add 8 plus 11 together. So 95 equals 1/2 of the height 8 plus 11 is 19. So now I'm going to work to get rid of the half and the 19. I can do that a couple of different ways. I don't know so 19 is being multiplied by h, so I could divide by both sides, by 19 on both sides. I don't know what 95 divided by 19 is. I don't know if that's a nice number, so I want to start by moving the half. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, because that 2 is getting rid of that half, because I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm taking 95 times 2 to get 190 equals h times 19. Now, because those are being multiplied, I can divide by that 19 on both sides, and I know h is going to equal 10, and I look back at my units and it's inches, so my height is 10 inches. Our next problem says the area of a trapezoid is 75 inches. The bases are 8 and 17 inches. Find the height of the trapezoid. So it's just like the previous problem. So my area is 75. My height is, my 1/2 always stays the same. I'm finding the height, so I'm leaving that h. And my bases are 8 plus 17. So I'm going to add first. I always add first when I can. 75 equals 1/2 the height times 25. So I can do this one a little bit differently. I know, just my mental math, I know I can divide 25 on both sides, and I know 75 will divide nicely by 25. So I'm going to divide by 25. That cancels. 75 divided by 25 equals 3. So I have 3 equals 1/2 h. And now maybe this will help you see that multiplying by 2 a little bit better, because we have less going on in the problem. If I want to get rid of that fraction, I multiply by the denominator. Times 2, because really I'm doing times 2 over 1. And then times 2 on this side, because 2 over 1 is just 2. That cancels with that cancels with that, and just leaves me with h. And then 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 equals h, and that was inches, so 6 inches. And the last two are just using the formula regularly. Your homework is going to be in IXL, and these are what the problems are going to be like. You're not going to be given extra information. You'll be given your 2 bases and your height. Either your height will be inside the trapezoid like this, or it'll be on the side of the trapezoid, and we can use a leg as long as it forms this right angle. So you'll have the 3 things you need, and you'll plug it into the formula. Area equals 1/2 of the height, 6, times the 2 bases, 10 plus 6. I'm going to add first, so area equals 1/2 times 6. 10 plus 6 is 16. So all I did there was I added 10 plus 6. Then I like to work right to left and do 16 times 6 equals 96. I want half of 96, so I'm dividing by 2. And my area equals 48 centimeters squared. And then our last one, excuse me. Okay, our last one, again, we have the 2 bases and then our vertical height. So my area equals 1/2. The height is 28. And my 2 bases are 22 plus 34. So I'm going to add those 2 bases together first. 22 plus 34 equals 56. So area equals 1/2 times 28 times 56. I'm going to multiply right to left and do 56. 56 times 28. I get 1,568. I want half of that, so I'm going to divide by 2. And the area is 784 inches squared. The last thing that I want to say is that with these, my trapezoid doesn't have to be oriented the same way it is on this page. So I want to take this last one for example. If I turned it this way and we had that problem, try to focus, there we go. And we had that problem, 28 is still the height. So that's the tricky thing about this. 28 is not a base just because it's now like sitting on the 28. 28 is the height because it forms a right angle with these two segments, and the two bases have to be across from each other. I don't think that will ever be an issue in any of the problems that you see, but just remember that you have to have that right angle touch both of the bases. And then wherever you have those two right angles, those are your two bases. So just be careful with that, but I really do think all of the orientations will look exactly like this. So again, you'll be working in IXL using this formula just like these last two problems to get to a SMART score of 50.